Good morning. I have to do a re-recording because the other video that was scheduled for today has some issues. So if you went on the website and you found that it was not talking like it should have been, then I had that issue as well. I had a lot of technical issues yesterday. I don't know what was going on. So I'm going to remake the video for today. The first thing I'm going to need for you to do is to make sure you have your packet, and please open it to day 7. And I'm going to share my screen. The first problem is an I do, and it reads, the fourth grade teachers gave the fourth grade students 195 new pencils. They gave each student 3 pencils. How many students are in the fourth grade? So my job today is that to figure out how many students are in the fourth grade. So I'm going to underline that big question. Now I'm going to look within the question or within the problem to see what's there to help me to answer the question. I see that there are 195 new pencils. I also see that she gave each student 3 pencils. And I noticed the word each student. So every student got 3 pencils, and there were 195 pencils. So my job is to figure out how many students there were in the fourth grade. So if I have a large sum that I'm divvying out, so then this tells me that this is going to be a division problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my problem, 195, and I'm going to take 195 and I'm going to divide it by 3. I'll pause right there and let you catch up. If you need additional time, please pause your video. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see how many times will 3 go into 195. So basically I'm saying how many groups of 3 can I get out of 195? And once I get my answer as a quotient, that'll tell me how many students there were in the fourth grade. So let's divide. 3 won't go into 1, so I have to divide 3 into 19, which means that I have to put my first answer right over the 9 because I'm dividing into 19. If I skip count by 3s, I know my answer would be 6. So if I go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, by the time I get to 18, I would have multiplied 3 by 6. So I'm going to put a 6 there. 6 times 3 is 18. My next step is to subtract. 19 minus 18 gives me 1. Now I look here at the 1 to make sure my 1 is less than my divisor of 3, and it is. If it is, I can keep going. If ever this number is higher than my divisor, something is wrong with this answer here, but it's not. 1 is less than 3, so I can continue. After subtraction, I bring down my next digit, and I put a 5 here. So now I'm going to be dividing into 15. I'll stop right there and let you catch up. All right, now the next step is to divide 3 into 15. If I skip count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I know that once I get to 5, that 3 times 5 gives me 15. So 3 groups of 5 is 15. Or 15 divided by 3 is 5. So 5 times 3 gives me 15. And I subtract. 15 from 15 gives me 0. 0 is less than my divisor of 3. There's nothing else to bring down. So my answer is 65. Go back over to my big question. How many students are there in the fourth grade? Well, let's recap. I had 195 pencils. Gave out 3 pencils to every student. So that means that there were 65 students. Now, if we wanted to check our work, we know that the opposite of division is multiplication. So I would take my quotient 65 and I would multiply it by 3 to check my work. 3 times 5 is 15. Put down my 5, put my plus 1 here. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. So I get 195 when I check my work, which was my dividend there. So my work is correct. So my answer to this problem is 60. I'll give you a few minutes to get that down. Always check your work. If you need additional time, please pause your video. Let's go to the next problem. The next problem is an I do as well. I will read it and we'll do what we did for the last problem. There are a total of 289 students in the fourth grade. The students are on their way to lunch and all of them must be able to sit at a table. Each table can sit 50 students. How many tables will be needed if all students need a seat? So my big question is, how many tables will they need if all students need a seat? So I'm going to box in the fact that all the students need a seat, which means I can't leave anybody standing. Now, I know there were a total of 289 kids, and I know that they're going to sit at tables, and the tables will hold 50 kids. Okay, my job is to figure out how many tables they will need. So again, this will be a division problem. So I'm going to start with my 289 and divide it by 50. I'll stop right there and let you catch up. Make sure you have cubed. All right, so let's begin. Now, let's talk about what we know about 50. 50 is a pretty simple number to add up. I know if I put two 50s together, that I'll get 100. If I put three 50s together, I'll have 150. If I put four 50s together, I'll have 200. If I put five 50s together, I have 250. So let's think about what we know and let's go make our job a lot easier. So I'm going to try the big 7 method with this particular problem. Now, as I said, I know that two of these 50s would make 100. So I know four would make 200. So I'm going to put a 4 right here. So I'm going to take my 4 multiplied by 50 and put 200. I'm going to subtract 200 from 289. Starting in the ones column, 9 minus 0 is 9, 8 minus 0 is 8, and I know 2 minus 2 is 0. Now my job is to figure out how many groups of 50 can I get out of 89. Well, I just said earlier that two 50s would give me 100, so that's too much. So now I can only have 150, so I'll put that there. Then I'm going to take that 1 and multiply it by 50 and get 50. Then I'll subtract. 9 minus 0 is 9. 8 minus 3. 8 minus 5 is 3. So now I have 39 left. I can't get another group of 50 out of 39. So 39 would be my remainder. So I have a total, so I add these up, of 5. And my remainder is 39. Now let's go back to our problem. How many tables will they need if all, keyword all the students need a seat? I have 39 kids over here. And I know that this is going to be 5 tables. So already I need 5 tables. Plus I'm going to need an additional table, 5 tables. plus 1, that's quotient plus 1, will give me a total of 6 tables. So that no one is standing, I need 6 tables. Okay, so my quotient was 5. That's what my answer ended up being with the remainder of 39. And remember, I'm trying to figure out how many tables. Each table will seat 50 kids. So if I did the 5 times the 50, I get 250. I'm checking my work. I take 250 and subtract it from 89, and I would get my 39. So I check my work. So that is correct. So my answer here would be 6. There would be a total of 6 tables needed to seat every student in the 4th grade. I'll give you a few minutes to get that down. If you need additional time, just pause your video. Here are the answers as well. So these are on here if you want to go back and look at a different strategy to use as well. But you get the same answer. Try to give you a lot of different strategies. Okay, our next problem is a we do. And it reads, Jalen put 560 building blocks into bags. He put an equal number of blocks in each bag until he didn't have enough blocks to go in every bag. How many blocks did Jalen have left over? Okay, so let's underline our big question. How many blocks did Jalen have left over? Left over is important. So let's go back into the problem. Jalen put 560 building blocks into 9 bags. So he's separating 560 blocks and putting them separately into 9 bags. So that tells me he's going to do some type of division going on here. He put an equal number. Equal number is important. Again, it points out that there's going to be some division because he's putting an equal number in each bag until he didn't have enough blocks to go in every bag. Then it says how many will he have left over? But left over, if I'm dividing, is going to be my remainder. Let's make this a little clearer. So left over will be my remainder. Okay, I'll pause and let you catch up to where I am. If you need additional time, please pause your video. Okay, so now let's set up our division problem, 560, and we're going to divide 560 by 9. Okay, so the first thing we have to decide, how many groups of 9 are in 560? So 9 won't go into 5, but 9 will go into 56. So my first answer goes right there. If I skip count by 9s, I would skip count until I get to 9 times 6. 9 times 6 gives me 54. So I will put a 6 here. 6 times 9, again, is 54. Now we must subtract. 6 minus 4 gives me 2. 5 minus 5 gives me 0. Now let's check. After we subtract, we check. Is 2 less than 9? If it is, we can continue. 2 is less than 9. And again, if ever this number is bigger than our divisor, then something would be wrong with our quotient here. But we're fine because this 2 is less than a 9, so we can continue on. Our next step is to bring down the next digit, and our next digit is 0. So now we're dividing 9 into the 20. So if I skip count by 9s until I get to 20, then I know if I stop at 2, 2 times 9 gives me 18. 3 times 9 is 27. That's too much because remember, I only have 20. So 2 would be my answer that I put here in my quotient. 2 times 9 is 18. So I multiply the 2. Now I subtract. 20 minus 18 gives me 2. If you need to see the regrouping, there it is. All right, there's nothing else to bring down. My 2 is less than my 9, so my remainder would be 2. My remainder would be 2. It would be 2 remainder. So that means that he put 62 blocks in each bag. He had 9 bags, and he had a total of 560 blocks. My job was to figure out how many blocks did he have left over. My leftover is my remainder, so my answer would be B. Take a few minutes and write down what you have. If you need additional time, all right, our last and final problem is a we do, and it reads, Hannah's Bake Shop makes 64 cupcakes on Saturday and 56 cupcakes on Sunday. The cupcakes are placed in boxes of 6. How many boxes of cupcakes did the bake shop make? How many boxes of cupcakes did the bake shop make? Is our big question. If I go back in the problem to find some help, I know there are 60, that they made 64 on Saturday. They made 56 on Sunday. And I know that they placed them in boxes of 6. So, how many boxes of cupcakes did the bake shop make? Well, 64 cupcakes on Saturday, 56 on Sunday. So here I need to add these two numbers together. Then it says they placed them in boxes of 6. So that tells me that I'm going to have to divide. This is a two-step problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my problem. 64 and 56. And we're going to add. I'll pause and let you get caught up. All right, so let's add. I know that 4 plus 6 gives me 10. Put down my 0 and carry my plus 1 over here. I know that 6 plus 5 gives me 11, plus 1 more gives me 12. So that gives me a total of 120 cupcakes. So I have a total of 120 cupcakes. Now, they took that 120 cupcakes and they placed the cupcakes in boxes of 6. So again, they're separating them and putting them in boxes of 6. So this tells me that I am going to divide. So now I'm going to take my 120 cupcakes and I'm going to divide 120 by 6. So I think Hmm, 12. Oh, this is easy. 6 I know won't go into 1. But I know 6 will go into 12. How many times will 6 go into 12? If I skip count, 6, 12. So I have to put my answer over my 2 because I'm dividing into 12. So 6 goes into 12 2 times. I multiply 2 times 6. That gives me 12. So I subtract and I have 0. Always check, is 0 less than my divisor? Yes, it is. I bring down my next digit. My next digit is 0. 6 goes into 0, 0 times. Now I have to have that 0 there because 6 times 20 is 120. I'm dividing into 120. I'm not just dividing into 12. I had a 2 here. That means that I'm just doing 2 times 6 only gives me 12. I have 120. So I have to have that 0. So 0 times 6 gives me 0. And there's 0 left and nothing else to bring down. So my answer would be 20. That's how many boxes. So they had 20 boxes of 6 donuts. I'm sorry, cupcakes in each one. It says how many boxes of cupcakes did the bake shop make? They had 20 boxes. The 20 boxes would be your final answer. And I'll pause and let you catch up to where I am. If you need additional time, please pause your video. Your next few problems are you-dos. Please make sure that you're reading the problems. Please make sure that you underline your big question. And please make sure that you're using cubes. So please cube all your problems. Once you have finished solving your problems, please go on to Kahoot, fill in your real name, first name, last initial of your last name, your first initial of your last name. Only do Kahoots one time. If you do Kahoots more than one, I'm going to take the lowest score. Do Kahoots one time. Okay. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great evening.